Who has done it? Straight up, let me see. Oh gosh. So you have not done it. That's why you are not showing us, right? Okay. That's wonderful. Please, could you be reading what is contained there so that it will make things faster for us? What you don't understand, when Andrea will explain to you, if you don't still understand, what will you do? You will ask the questions, right? Okay.
We are going to have a team of doctors and other persons involved in assisting other persons. And they are going to help us understand a little bit more about ourselves and what is happening in the world and what may happen to you and me. So to begin, I will say that you listen keenly. Just put down the paper, hold that. You read it afterwards. You listen. Listening now is most important. You listen, and if you have notes, you take notes. We will begin with a prayer, and then we'll pass on to them to continue. Anybody for 3 ready to lead us? From 3-0. From 4. From 4. Nobody. From 1. And forward. From 4s and from 3s, you will call the from 1 senior. You say a prayer out loud there. Why is it what is happening? Let's pray. I love the Son, I love the Holy Spirit, amen. Glory be to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. As it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end, amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. As it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end, amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the protection of everything throughout the whole of this day. It's not because of our righteousness, it's because of the love you have for us, Heavenly Father. Heavenly Father, as we start this cancer, breast cancer, Heavenly Father, may you lead us and make us understand everything that is talking in that paper in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Glory be to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. As it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end, amen. Amen. Of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, but it's okay. Just sit around. Dear students, I'll begin by thanking your principal, Reverend Sister Agnes, for giving us the opportunity to be here in front of you to talk about something that they usually don't talk about to you. And before I begin, I would like to introduce ourselves. That young man standing there is Jervis. He has his advanced levels, so he is volunteering with us. The lady standing there is Auntie Sidoni. Auntie who? Sidoni. Good. She has a degree in anthropology. She has 2 children, and I am her husband. Right she's not a Cameroonian, right? All of us are Cameroonian, etc. Please, her name is Andrea Arendt. And please, let's go faster. She is from the United States of America. She came to Cameroon as a Peace Corps, a volunteer. She left her country, her family, her everything, her job, came here just to volunteer and to be doing what she will be doing today. She is a registered nurse. In the US, to be a registered nurse is quite complicated and very important. You have to know the human system. She is also the holder of a master's degree in public health. She will be doing the presentation on cancer proper. Can you give her a loud round? My name is Ning Elijah Ngamai. Yeah, I know Elijah seems very oldish, but that's my name. Please, I am a teacher. I've been teaching for 15 years. I teach English to Francophones or to Anglophones and French to Anglophones or to Francophones. But I'm also the coordinator of celeBritys for Africa in Cameroon. And what is it? It is an organization that dreams of making every African aware of the fact that cancer is deadly, cancer is painful, cancer is costly. And when you are aware that cancer is deadly, painful, and costly, you will take the necessary measures to avoid it. And she will show you the measures. The next thing is that, please, this one is very important and you have to take it wherever you go to. In Cameroon, we most often hear about HIV/AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis. These 3 diseases, they say every year kill so many people. But if you put all the people who die from these diseases in Cameroon those people will not be up to the number of people who die from cancer every year. So if there are 1 million people who die from tuberculosis, malaria, and HIV in 1 year, right? There will be more than 1 million people who die from cancer every year. But why have you never heard about it? It is because cancer is not like AIDS, where there is a lot of money. People donate a lot on AIDS, where there is a lot of money, and where you can now go to the television and pay TV people to advertise or to talk about it. They talk a lot about AIDS, malaria, okay? But one day we hope that they will talk about cancer the way they talk about this one. But before they start talking about it, we want you to start adopting those habits. Because cancer can be avoided if you adopt habits. She will explain the type of habits you should adopt in order to fight it. And at the end, please, don't just take these things, these brochures and keep, or listen to this talk and keep inside you. No. Take it when you go home, wherever you are. Share it with your mother, share it with your father, right? Share it with your brothers and also your neighbors. All of us here, please, I want you to learn to understand this. All of us here are volunteers. It means that I am not being paid for being here. She is not, none of us here has received money to be here. We are here because we know that one day you too, you might be somewhere and help our own child. That is what they call social responsibility. You understand? So please, I will hand over the microphone to Andrea. Please, be attentive. You write down your questions at the end of our presentation. Ask the questions, and we encourage you to ask any question that is related to your health and to your well-being. Thank you.
Morning. For your warm welcome. Can you hear me if I talk like this? Because I don't know if this microphone is working. Can you hear me now? I want you to raise your hand if you have heard of cancer, or if you know what cancer is, or if you know somebody who's had cancer. And somebody wants to volunteer to tell everybody what they think cancer is? Can I get to volunteer? Oh, okay. Cancer is actually a term that we use for a group of diseases. You might have heard the term tumor, but cancers is when... Sorry. Is this better? Okay. Can you hear me in the back? So cancer is a term that we use for a group of diseases when the cells of our body start to divide in an abnormal way, so different than they usually do. And then it's able to spread across the body either through your blood and your blood vessels or through your lymph system. And it invades tissues, and it takes over the normal healthy cells with the bad cells. So this just gives an illustration of normal cells. You can see see here, the normal cells are the ones that are in yellow, and they divide normally. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, we don't really know why, there's a lot of very smart doctors and scientists who try to study what causes this, but we don't know yet that a cell will become bad. Usually, if a cell is bad, the body will get rid of it and destroy it. But when cancer occurs, the bad cells just continue to replicate, and they replicate very quickly, and they begin to take over the healthy cells, and in whatever organ these cells are, they begin to, the bad cells take over. And the point of this slide is to show you that it takes a little bit of time for the bad cells to replicate or to divide or multiply. Sometimes some cancers grow more quickly than others, but they all take some time. So we want to be able to pick up the cancer cells down here because it is easy to take care of when there's just a few. It's much easier and it's cheaper to take care of than when people wait and we don't find the cancer until it is very big. Then it is very hard to take care of. And if people let it get to this stage, a lot of times they will die. But if we catch it early at that stage, they are much more likely to live. So there are more than 100 different types of cancers. And normally, so you have probably, what kind of cancers have you heard of? Breast cancer. And so there are many different kinds. There are over 100 different kinds. And usually they are named after the organ that the cells are created in. So if a tumor forms in my liver, it's called liver cancer. If a tumor forms in my stomach, it's called stomach cancer. If it forms in the colon or in the intestine, it's called colon cancer. Sometimes if it forms in the colon, it can move to the liver, or it can move through the blood and the lymph. It can move to other organs, but they will still call it colon cancer because that's where it started. So there are 6 cancers that are the most common throughout the world, including in Cameroon. There's breast. A lot of you said breast cancer. Cervical cancer. Have people heard of cervical cancer? No. Well, we will talk a lot about that one today. Prostate cancer. That's something that you as women will not get. But men have prostates and men can get prostate cancer, and it's very common in African men. Lung cancer. Have you heard of lung cancer? Yes. What's the big thing with lung cancer? What causes lung cancer? Yes, smoking. Liver. We talked about there's liver cancer. That is a big one. Alcohol can lead to liver cancer. And colorectal, which is your intestines. That is another more common one. So here are some important facts that you need to know about cancer. So anybody can get cancer. Man, woman, young, old. Some cancers are more common in men, and some cancers are more common in women. Some cancers are more common in older people, and some cancers are more common in younger people. But anybody can get cancer. And when we talked about earlier, when you're able to catch the tumor when it is small, it's much easier to stop and to treat and to cure the person. However, once it has spread, we talked about how colon cancer can get into the blood or the lymph system and spread to other organs. when that happens, it is very difficult to treat it because you have these bad cells that are just going loose and crazy and wild in the body. It's actions so they can prevent themselves from getting cancer. So we already talked about the 6 most frequently types of cancer. Do you remember what they are? Yeah.
Prostate cancer.
Right. What's another one? Right.
Lung cancer.
Yes.
Liver cancer.
Yes. What's?
Cervical.
Yes, I think we got all 6. Okay. So today we are just going to talk about 4 of them. We are going to talk about cervical cancer. We are going to talk about breast cancer, prostate cancer, and lung cancer. So we will start with cervical cancer. You probably did not know, but January was Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. So we're already past that. But next January, keep in mind that it's a good time to, if there's a health group, if you guys have a health club at your school, it's a good time to do something to raise awareness about cervical cancer. So, who knows what the cervix is or where the cervix is? Do you know? Have you heard of the cervix? Anybody raise their hand that you have? Okay. So the cervix is it's something that we have as women. Men do not have cervixes. So they cannot get cervical cancer. Cervical cancer is something only women get. Our cervix is, you cannot see it, it's on the inside of our body. So this picture shows the cervix is right here. This is the womb or the uterus. Have you got, you know that the womb or the uterus is where the baby grows in a woman? And then this is the vagina. This is the opening from the outside inside the woman's body to the womb. Right at the bottom of the womb is where the woman's cervix is. So it's not something that you see on a normal basis. So if we go back again, this picture is just showing what the doctor says. So when a doctor does a pelvic exam, the doctor will look at your cervix to see if it is healthy. So this picture shows a healthy cervix. It's nice and round and pink, and it's healthy. So the doctor would say that's a good cervix. This is one that is infected. It is bad. It does not look good. Again, we're back to this slide. And this just, again, helps to illustrate the point that prevention and getting tested and catching cervical cancer early is very important. So right here we have a picture of a uterus and a cervix at the early stages of cancer. If the doctor discovers the cancer at this point, he can very easily remove those cells, and the woman will still have her uterus or her womb, and she'll still be able to have children. The next picture, you see that it is growing, and it's actually gone up into the uterus. The cancer cells are now into the uterus or the womb. At that point, the doctor will have to take out the whole womb. And, that's where the baby grows. Without a womb, a woman cannot have a child. So you see that it's important that you catch it early. Because it's a lot better just to have a few cells cut out than have them remove your whole womb. And the last picture is even later. You can see there's more cells. The whole uterus is expanded. At that point, it's going to be very hard to treat, and the woman most likely will die. So what causes cervical cancer? Again, we're not sure of exactly all of the causes, but a lot of cervical cancer is caused by a specific virus. Has anybody heard of HPV? Anybody? Okay. Well, HPV stands for human papilloma virus. And it's a virus that this is the woman's genitalia, her private area. You can see that there are little bumps on there. Also, men can get it on their penises. They'll have little bumps. But this virus is transmitted through sexual activity. So a woman can give it to a man can give it to a woman through sexual intercourse. Men don't develop, they might develop bumps, but they don't develop cervical cancer, right, because they don't have cervixes. But if a woman gets this virus, she can develop cervical cancer. So one of the keys to preventing cervical cancer is to prevent people from getting this virus. So, like both cancers, cervical cancer at the early stages, you wouldn't know you had it. You feel fine, you're walking around, everything's normal. There might be some signs, but usually these occur after the tumor has gotten bigger. You might have some abnormal bleeding from your vagina. That's a sign. Pain in your pelvis, which is this area right here. That's a sign. Bleeding after going through menopause. A lot of that does not, you will not go through menopause for many years. Menopause is when a woman is older and she stops her monthly bleeding. So that doesn't concern you, but it may concern family members. So if they have bleeding, they need to go to the doctor. Increased vaginal discharge, if there's pain during sex. And again, these symptoms can also be signs of other things. So if you have any of the symptoms, it's important that you talk to your doctor or nurse about it so they can diagnose what the problem is. Again, this is just telling us a lot of times when people have just small little tumors and cancers at that early stage that you don't feel it, you don't know, and you don't see your cervix, so how would you know if there's anything on your cervix? So first we'll talk a little bit about how you will catch the cancer early if cancer is there. But right now we want to talk about how you prevent cervical cancer. So there is a vaccine. We talked about the HPV virus that you get through sexual intercourse. There is a vaccine. I believe if you do have the vaccine available here in Cameroon, although I think it is kind of limited, there is not a big supply. But they recommend for young girls that they get this vaccine. So it's best to get it before they start having sexual intercourse because it's before they're exposed to the virus, because it will prevent them from getting the mutate or go bad and lead to cancer. So just don't start smoking. And if you have started smoking, stop. But it's best not to start. Because it's very hard, once you start, you get addicted, and it's very hard to stop. So you don't want to even start. Awareness. What we're doing today is going out and talking to people, telling them what cervical cancer is and what they can do about it. And then screening. There are some tests. There are 2 types of tests that doctors in Cameroon do to look for cervical cancer. One is called the pap smear, and one is called the VIA, or direct visualization. So we're going to talk about how those are done. So a pap smear, a woman will lay on a table, and a doctor, or sometimes a nurse, will insert an instrument called a speculum inside her. And that's just to open up the vagina so the doctor can look. The doctor needs to be able to see where the cervix is. So he has to open up so they can look to see where the cervix is. Then the doctor puts a swab or a little spoon than to have your whole uterus taken out. I would prefer to have this done than to have an operation and have my whole boob taken out. So I know it's not pleasant, but you need to do it. And they recommend that you start doing it no more than 3 years after you first have sex. So if you have sex at age 13, by age 16, you need to make sure that you have had this test. If you don't have sex until you are 16 or 18, then you can wait longer before you get this test. Okay, so the other test is called a BIA. And this is when the doctor will take a cotton swab of vinegar, also known as acetic acid, vinegar. I'm sure you have all used vinegar to cook. So you take vinegar, put a swab, and the doctor will put the vinegar on the cervix. If there are cancer cells on the cervix, they will turn white. I know it's kind of hard to see in this picture, but there are some white cells up here. Vinegar was put on the cells and they turned white. So the doctor now says, oh, there are some bad cells, and he can actually, or she, because there are women doctors,
you are girls, right? And yesterday, before coming to meet your principal, I went to PCHS. You know PCHS up in Buea now? And when we explained what we were doing, the principal told us a story about a girl who was dismissed last week at 13 years of age. Why? Because at the beginning of the second term, the mother who works at her farm in Pendamoko sent her back to school with her box. And since she knew a neighbor who is a driver in Pendamoko, gave her child to that man, and in the bus they came. That evening the man called the woman and said, no, I have dropped your child in school. The following morning, at about 9 a.m., the mother left Pendamoko to come and pay that child's school fees. As God will have it, as she dropped from the taxi in front of that gate, she saw her child also dropping from the taxi with all her things that she left the house with, her box, her this, her that. And the mother said, but what is this? She said, Mama, you called me yesterday and told me that you were already in the school. They went in and investigated and discovered that the neighbor, took the child from wherever she was, where they were living, and went to his house with the child and had sex with that girl. They took her to the disciplinary council and punished her for 3 days, forgave her and counseled her. But 1 month later, there was a fee drive. They sent away students. She wasn't sent away for fees because her mother had struggled. You know how those mothers struggle to pay your fees. She had struggled and paid her fees. Then this girl at 13 left. As people, those who were sent away for fees were going, she also left. And went and stayed for 4 days. That evening, when they were doing the roll call, they discovered that this girl was absent, whereas she had not been sent away for fees. And they called her mother the following day. Is that child with you? No. Do you have anybody in Buea we can contact? No. After 4 days, the child appeared. And it was shameful because she had gone away like that to have sex. Please, this one is very, very important to you girls. We, your parents, we, your teachers, listen please, we, your elders, we will not be happy to discover that After all these years, after sacrificing, that woman could have at least bought a new dress for herself. She could at least enjoy her life a little bit with that money she spent to send that child in school. What happens is that 99% of those women who drop out of school because of that word sex. Some call it love. That is not love, please. What is it? Please, we are coming down. When I came here on Monday, we saw a little girl up here, just at this, as you're bending that corner. She's sitting at a call box. We came yesterday, we still saw her sitting. This morning, we saw her sitting there. She's almost of your age. What is she doing there? When you go up to that Munya Street, go right down to the end of Munya, you will see call box, small place where they sell some cigarettes, bonbons, all those things. You will see tomatoes. What are those girls, those women, those girls doing there? It is because they didn't have a plan. When they were, go and ask her, is this what you wanted to do when you were like me? Auntie, they will tell you, almost all of them, no, something happened, something wrong happened. And most of the time it is because when they were young, somebody came and told them that what is important is this other aspect of life. Cervical cancer is contracted through sex and no other means. Is it clear? Yeah. Please try as much as possible to do one thing for yourself, for your parents, and for the people who love you. Look at her. How old do you think she is? How much time has she spent in school? Look at your reverend principal. How old is she? How much time has she spent? If she started focusing on those things, look at my wife. How old is she? How much time has she spent in school? If she focused on those things, she wouldn't be sitting here. Please remember one thing, they will come and tell you stories that you are the most beautiful girl in the world. You are the apple of my eye. Don't go to listen. If you don't hear it today, you might never hear it. And you will find yourself in problems for no good reason. Ask those people all over as you are going along, ask them, was that your plan when you were like me? Please come. Let us look at her plan, because it is very important. Good. What's your name, please? Manda Chongla. Okay. What class?
Form 2B.
What do you want to become in your life? Why are you in school? What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be engineer.
Can we give her the best clap? Please, this is Manda's dream. This is her plan. If you have that plan, stick to the plan. To stick to the plan, hold the plan tight. Let nobody come and tell you that let's go to 38 or whether this place carry your hands and swim or eat fish. If they tell you that, tell the person that that is not part of my plan. If somebody calls you your friend, because most of these things happen through friends, you will see a classmate who has come from her father might be a rich person, or in their house there are no morals, but you people meet. Please come, let us go and sit there. We'll eat burning fish or chicken, or that is not part of your plan. What is your plan? Your plan is that you spend 5 more years and you have your advanced levels. Your plan is that after your advanced level, you spend 6 years or 7 or 8, depending on the school, and you become a recognized engineer. And at that time, tell the person to call you. You understand? Call me if that thing ever happens to you. Manda, if you ever see somebody who is telling you that, look, please, I want to talk to you, tell the person that talk to me in 8 years' time. It's too far. It's too far because, listen please, it's very important. If at worst, tell the person, That thing is not part of my plan. My plan is to become an engineer, and my plan will come true. I have to focus on what I want to do. What do you want to do? How do you become an engineer? You study. You make friends with people who study. If she comes and tells you that, let's go to Limbe and swim, that is not part of your plan, because living here, jumping over that fence, going to Limbe, you might have an accident on the road. You might never be normal again. So your plan, please. I hope we have all understood. And the elder girls, there is Gael. Where's Gael? Please, she's somewhere there. I once came and dropped Gael here 4 or 5 years ago. She's my wife's relative, right? And I told her something. Stay strong in school, and you will be my mother. And she's still in school. And I'm so proud when I come in here, I see her, I see Jehovah children, I know I saw growing up. Please, the elder ones, serve as good examples to these ones. They will like to see you not going out and coming back late at night. They would like to see you not looking at the wall and thinking that if you don't wear that new dress, that new pair of shoes, you will die. You will not die. If you don't eat that roasted fish, nothing will happen to you. Eat what your mother did, even his Gary. Eat. I'm sure Sister Akin will tell you one day how she grew up, and you will be amazed. Well, she has never told me, but I know that I myself, standing here, how did I grow up? This gentleman standing there, how did he grow up? He's my sister's son. It is because he has a plan for himself. And by the grace of God, by the end of this year, listen please, listen. By the end of this year, he will be in the United States of America, whereas his friends, his classmates who thought that who saw the world and wanted to get into the world, who started smoking, started drinking to show that they were big boys, to come and tell you, please, don't follow your plan, follow my plan. That is his plan, it's not your plan now. Yeah. Will you follow it? Tell him, call me after 5 years. Okay, and on behalf of Celebrities for Africa, I'm very sure that we'll always be looking at you to remind you of your plan. But always remind yourself of your plan every day. When you wake up, thank you God, I'm closer to becoming an engineer. I'm closer to becoming a medical doctor. I'm closer to becoming a pilot. Who wants to be a pilot here? You will pilot a plane. Amen. Thanks very much. Amen. God bless you.
Okay. Now we want to talk about breast cancer. So, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is in October. So keep that in mind. Come October, you want to think about breast cancer, talk about breast cancer, do stuff to fight breast cancer. So breast cancer, this is a really bad picture. I don't know if you can see it very well, but that's a very advanced stage of breast cancer. Not pretty. I don't think any of us want to look like that. I know I do not. So we want to prevent breast cancer, and we want to check it. We want to catch it early, so our breasts don't end up like this. Again, I keep on saying the same thing, but repetition is good. A lot of times, if you have cancer, you have no idea. You feel fine. But some signs of breast cancer, you may have an abnormal feeling on the breast or nipple. You might have nipple tenderness or a lump. Changes in the way that your breasts look or the contours of your breast. Also, a nipple retraction, which means that the nipple goes inside instead of coming out. The skin of the breast might look different. It might appear red or scaly. It might be swollen. It might look like the skin of an orange. So those are all, not good signs. And if you have any of these symptoms, you want to talk to a doctor or nurse. So what we do, what's very important, is beginning when you are 18. Are some of you now 18 in here? Are there girls back here that are 18? You want to start performing breast self-exams. You want to get to know what your breast feels like, what is normal. So if something abnormal or something different shows up, you know, and you can tell the doctor that it is different, because we know our bodies better than anybody else knows our bodies. And so women are the first one that notice a lump, and they can go and get treatment early. So starting at 18, you want to start performing breast exams. At age 18 or 19, you want to go to the doctor every year and have the doctor do a breast exam so that the doctor can feel to see if there is anything abnormal. By the age of 38, they recommend you have a mammogram. Do you know what a mammogram is? No? Okay. A mammogram is when you go, a machine takes a picture of the tissue inside your breast. So stuff that you can't see on the outside. It kind of squishes your breast and takes a picture of all your breast tissue inside to see if there are any lumps or tumors or bad cells. Between the ages of 40 and 49, you would need to talk to your doctor, but they recommend having a mammogram every year. This might vary depending on what your history is or what your doctor suggests. But after age 50, you should have a mammogram every year. And again, you need to, every month, be performing your own self-breast exams. Other things that you should do, make sure you keep all your health records. So here in Cameroon, you're responsible. You have your medical book, you get your lab results, you get your x-ray exams, your mammogram results. You need to keep those in a very safe place, in a place that you can easily find them, because it's very important that when you go to the doctor, you bring that stuff to the doctor so the doctor can give you the appropriate care. Make sure you maintain a healthy weight and you eat a good diet, lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. Make sure you get a lot of exercise or do sports. That can just be walking, running, playing football, playing lawn tennis. Whatever you enjoy to do, hiking up Mount Cameroon, that's lots of exercise. Again, don't start smoking. If you have started smoking, quit. And don't drink too much alcohol. Too much alcohol, again, has been shown can lead to having breast cancer. So this just gives you an idea of how you would do a self-breast exam, and you should do this every month for those of you who are 18 and older. I think we can help. So the first step would be you would want to stand without your shirt or bra, and you would want to stand in front of a mirror and just look at your breasts, and also raise your hands above your head. Just to see that there's no changes, that they're hanging evenly, that they're normal, you don't notice anything strange. And again, if you do this starting when you are young, you begin to know what's normal. So when you see something that's different, you know. And then the next part, next slide. The next part, you would either want to stand up, or you can also do it laying down, whichever is more comfortable, whichever is easy for you. And you would just want to palpate or touch your breast. You want to do it with the pads of your finger, the flat parts of the fingers, not the fingernails. Because the flat parts of your fingers are sensitive, and you'll be able to feel better. So there are, if you go to the next slide, there are different ways that you can do this. Again, it's whatever you want to do, but do it the same way every month. Whatever is easier, whatever feels better. This is showing you there's a circular motion. So you would start on the outside of the breast, and you just go in a circle, a spiral circle moving inward. So you feel the entire breast. Some women prefer to go up and down. Again, whatever, just make sure you're feeling the entire breast. On the next slide, you will see this area right here. Make sure that you feel that area too. That's very important. A lot of women will miss that area because they don't think that that is their breast. But there is breast tissue up there, and that is actually the most common spot where tumors start. That's where they're found most often. So you want to make sure you feel that area under your arm, in your armpit. Okay. That you perform this, so you do this breast exam once a month, and it's best to do it a week after your monthly bleeding. That's the best time to do it. And you do it the same time every month. Also, I think I forgot to say one thing. When after you palpate or feel the whole breast, you want to squeeze your nipple to see if there's any discharge. If there is discharge, like a clear fluid or blood, you want to talk to the doctor or nurse. So, men also have breast tissue. Much less than women, but men have nipples and men have breast tissue. It is rare, but men can get breast cancer. So, if men have a lump on their chest or discharge from their nipple, they also need to go to the doctor or nurse. We don't normally tell them they don't have to do theirs, brothers. One day you will have husbands, and they can get prostate cancer. So you need to know this information. So, does anybody know? Have you heard of the prostate? Do you know where the prostate is? You do know where it is? Yes. Good, you do. Okay, so this is a picture of the men's sexual organs or their genitalia. So it's like a cross cutout. So this would be their penis here, and this would be their anus or their rectum. The prostate is right. But it is right here. So again, you can't see it from the outside. It's on the inside. So what the doctor does for men to test to see if the prostate is enlarged. If it grows bigger, that is a sign that they might have cancer. The doctor does what they call a digital rectal exam. They put their finger up the rectum or the anus of the man and they feel the prostate, if it is enlarged. Again, not fun. I don't think men like it. But it is better than dying of cancer. So encourage the men in your life that they need to have this done. Do we want to go over the symptoms or? Okay, so just some symptoms just to make the men in your life aware. Any of these symptoms are bad. A need to urinate frequently, especially in the middle of the night if they wake up and have to pee. Difficulty starting urination or holding back urine. Weaker interrupted flow, painful urination, difficulty in having an erection, painful ejaculation, any blood in the urine or semen, frequent pain or stiffness in the lower back, hips, and upper thigh. Again, prostate, very, very common in African men. 1 in 3 Cameroonian men above age 55 have prostate cancer. That's a lot. Okay. So November is lung cancer month. And you said it before. What causes lung cancer? Smoking. That's the big thing. Well, here's a picture of a good lung. On this side, sorry. The right lung is nice and healthy and pink. The left lung is bad. It's black. It has a tumor on it. The next picture is just a close-up view of the left lung, the bad lung. It's hard to breathe with that. It's very painful. If you've ever had... If nobody smoked, just think of how little lung cancer we would have. There are some things that cause lung cancer. Passive smoking, so being in the same house or next to somebody who smokes, that sometimes leads to lung cancer even if you have never smoked. So if you have parents that smoke, tell them you don't want to get lung cancer from them. So please stop smoking. Can you go back there? Okay, also there are some people who just have genetics, other lung disease, prior history of lung cancer, air pollution, not much we can do about it. So smoking, we can do something. So in general, how do you prevent these cancers that we talked about and other cancers as well? Don't start smoking. If you have started smoking, stop. Make sure you eat lots of vegetables, not a lot of fat. I know here in Cameroon, you guys run a lot, beaucoup, of palm oil. Maybe use a little less. Make sure you get lots of physical exercise or do sports. Maintain a healthy weight. Be in a monogamous relationship. And completely avoid or limit your alcohol. I think that is it. Again, I hope that you take this information, that you understood it. If you don't understand it, please ask a question, and then tell other people.
So can you give us...
Please, we will take just a few questions, and so feel free, okay? Nobody will punish you for asking the wildest question. Yes, Madam Vice Principal.
Madam?
Well, it might be a sign that somebody has lung cancer. A cough will not cause lung cancer, but if somebody has a persistent cough, it's possible they have lung cancer, but there are also other diseases, like tuberculosis, that can cause a persistent cough. So you would have to talk to a doctor or nurse for them to identify all your symptoms to see.
Next question. Okay, there's a question. The young stand up. Sure.
Okay, so her question was, can chalk cause lung cancer? No, I have not seen any evidence that chalk can cause lung cancer. Sometimes people who have asthma, it might make them have an asthma attack, or it might make you cough, but it won't cause cancer.
Next question.
Women who have cancer cut off their breast when it's not really that bad. When men have cancer, they also cut off their breast.
Yes. Well, it depends at what point, but they will have to cut out the cancerous cells. So you brought up a good point, a good question. So even for women, if you get it early and it's just a small tumor, they can just cut out the small tumor. But if you get it at a late stage, they have to remove the whole breast. So again, better to catch it early. But with men, yes, they would have to cut out the cancerous cell. So however big or small it is, they would have to cut it out.
Next question. Yes. Then after you. No, go ahead. Louder. Andrea, coins.
No, so like just on the outside, like in your bra or no, that will not cause breast cancer.
Okay, then there's someone who had a question behind you. Okay. Please, faster. Pardon?
Sleep into a breast milk can it cause cancer? Sleep into a breast milk.
With the bra. No, you sleep with the bra.
Your bra, right? Okay. No, that will not.
Yeah.
Okay. No, tattoos do not cause cancer. Tattoos, you can get other diseases that are transmitted in blood, like hepatitis B or HIV. Those are in the blood. So if somebody uses a dirty needle, you can get those from tattoos, but you cannot get cancer from tattoos.
Yeah. Hold you. Pardon? Look, can you help us with that? Ventolin for asthma.
Yeah. Regular use of ventolin spray can it cause cancer?
Oh, no, that does not cause cancer.
Last question. Yes. Who will have cancer? The child or the woman?
Okay.
The woman.
Well, if you do not breastfeed, that does not mean you will get cancer. Research has shown, so very smart doctors and scientists have studied this, and women who breastfeed are less likely to get cancer, breast cancer. But that does not mean that if you don't breastfeed, you will get cancer. But we like to encourage breastfeeding. It's very good. So it will lower your risk of breast cancer, and also it's very good for the baby.
Please.
We thank you for Please, we are grateful for everything that has happened here today. We hope that you have understood at least something that you didn't understand before, and that you will remember one thing, that I have a plan. I must stick to my plan till the plan comes true. I would like Gonga to come up and the senior prefect to come up, please. Celebrities for Africa is not only about cancer, but it's also about people being happy and attaining their goals. If you look at her, she's the senior prefect of this institution. 15 years ago, I was student union president in École Normale, Bambili. And you see the difference. Please, as you are standing here, Madam Senior Prefect, always be our leader. And we will never forget you. Gonga wants to be an engineer, and all of us, sister, will pray very hard. We will pray very hard. We will always come here and look for her to ask her, are you still wanting to be an engineer? Thank you very much, and we will always be coming back for more talks, and sorry for depriving you of your breakfast this morning.
On behalf of the entire school, we just want to say we are very grateful that you came here today to make us aware of this, everything about cancer. We promise to also let others know about cancer in order to prevent it. And we pray that God is going to bless you for sacrificing your time, your life, to make others aware of what cancer is all about. And we also hope that in the future we are going to be like you, to sacrifice our time to make others aware, so that our world is going to be a better place. Thank you.
With them. Is that okay?
Yes, sister.
We will do it the way we normally would do it. We will go to the front of the school and we'll start with up 6, first, lower 6. We count down because I will rush for breakfast. Some people have exams after this. So thanks so much. Before they get there, let up 6, lower 6, form 5, form 4, those present come out immediately. Form 1 just stay put on. Come this way, please. Come up this way. Take this way.
understand that we are doing it. Where are you from today? Yes. From today, I think I do it in automatic. When Sunday, when it's like, it's when I went to back. From two. Here we end the sensitization of Our Lady of Mount Carmel.
Do you want to snap that?
Already.
After that, that's after that. And the nature is here. And she would like to get a sense of what
No, this is
Good morning.
Okay, we'll get some second. Yes, I will.
So this will just join us and